Hello and welcome to episode 4 of UK NBA. I'm RyanHillback.
And I'm Peter Ross.
Coming up on today's show, we promised you 3 new segments, but unfortunately we can't deliver on one of our promises. What we were going to do is we were going to ask Pete 10 questions and he was going to see if he knew the answer, but unfortunately we didn't have time, did we?
We didn't have time to that, so we'll be skipping that part, but that will be on next week's show, definitely.
So we have got Did You Know? That's still on there. And another new feature is Coach of the Week. You remember we're doing Player of the Week. We're still doing Player of the Week.
Player of the Week, yeah.
But now we're on to Coach of the Week as well. So shall we kick it off? Shall we get the ball rolling?
With some news and some of the latest news coming in here. If you want to go for that, Ryan?
Yes, I do. And it's a bit more injury news, I'm afraid. It's Marcus Smart, sprained ankle, out for 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah, so that's a low blow for the Celtics, obviously coming well for Rajon Rondo off the bench at point guard. So that's a bit of a blow. Another point guard as well, yeah? Yeah,
it's Ricky Rubio. He sprained his ankle and he's out indefinitely.
Yeah, that was a nasty high ankle sprain, so that could be a little longer than 2 to 3 weeks. We don't know yet.
Derrick Rose as well. He's another person suffering from a sprained ankle. He missed all last week's games.
Yeah, that was a blow for the Bulls. Obviously, they come through pretty well without him. But obviously, it's always a worry when the star player goes down injured, as he has been the last few seasons. So hopefully he'll be back into form in the coming weeks and no more injuries for Derrick.
And Rajon Rondo has had screws removed from his left hand. He should be back on Wednesday to face Oklahoma Thunder.
Yeah, missed the Sunday's game. I know it was Saturday's game, so he missed that, but he will be back on Wednesday to play against Oklahoma City Thunder.
And Daryl Arthur, he was suspended for 1 game for flagrant 2 foul on Dion Waiters. He missed last night's game against the Blazers.
Yeah, again, quite a bad foul that was on Waiters. Obviously,
it was
Waiters
terrible, wasn't it? Yeah.
For a layup, and Daryl Arthur, rather than trying to contest the shot, did a 2-handed shove, which sent Dion Waiters down. Thankfully, Dion Waiters had no injury, but Daryl Arthur was rightly ejected from the game and has been given his ban. He served that last night in defeat to the Trailblazers. So that's true. There was also a little more injury news coming through today from last night's games involving 2 players. Dellavedova will be out 4 to 6 weeks with a knee sprain, that's for the Cavaliers. And Nicholas Batum suffered a right knee contusion and in the game last night with the Nuggets. And unfortunately, we've got no further news on how long he could be out. But I'm assuming it could be a couple of weeks, hopefully no more.
At least that injury list has got a little bit...
Yeah, exactly.
It's gone down a bit. Yeah, so that's good. Exactly. And of course, if you do want to know what the other injury news is, you can check out our 3 other videos, episode 1, 2 and 3, where we go into more detail about these injuries. What we got coming up now?
So now we're going to look... What we're going to look at now is a quick look at the standings and a short review of last week. So click up the standings here for the East. There's no more unbeaten teams that ended at the weekend. But in the East, Toronto Raptors are up there at 6-1. Miami Heat closely following. And Chicago Bulls and Washington Wizards all 5-2. The Nets, Celtics, Hornets now, and the Bucks, surprisingly, mark out the top 8 with the likes of Cleveland, Atlanta missing just behind. Indiana Pacers a terrible start for them this season after losing Paul George and having several other injuries of 1 and 6. And Philadelphia 76ers is the only team without a victory at 0-7 at the bottom.
And in the Western Conference, Memphis are top.
Yep.
Houston is 2nd. Golden State are in 3rd. Portland are 4th, 5 is the Sacramento Kings, 6 is the LA Clippers, in 7th are the New Orleans, 8 is Dallas, 9 Phoenix, 10 Utah, 11 San Antonio, 12 Minnesota, 13 Oklahoma City, 14 LA Lakers. That's really hard to believe, isn't it? That is madness. You wouldn't have predicted that, say, 10 years ago.
Well, no, it wouldn't be like that at all.
And in 15th, it's the Denver Nuggets. And that's your Western and Eastern Conference tables.
And just to make it clear as well, Portland Trailblazers will have a worse record than some of the teams below them. Because they are top of their division, that means they automatically go into the top 4 because they're top of their division. 3 divisions in each conference, which automatically puts them, although they do have worse records than Sacramento Kings and LA Clippers, respectively. So now just a quick review of this week. Monday night, there was plenty of basketball there. Sacramento Kings keeping a good run with 2 wins this week over the Denver Nuggets.
110 to 105.
That one, yeah, and Dallas Mavericks got a good win over the Celtics. On Tuesday night, Houston Rockets went into Miami and got a convincing 108-101 win. Look at the points. James Harden, 25 points, 10 assists and 9 rebounds. Dwight Howard, 26
38 total rebounds for Houston, 34 for Miami.
Exactly.
29 defensive rebounds, 21 for Miami, and 9 offensive rebounds for Houston, and 13 for Miami.
Which was impressive, but obviously couldn't hold on. 108-91 in the end. A couple other games on Tuesday. The Cavaliers surprisingly losing, being blown out basically by the Portland Trailblazers.
By 101 to 82.
Yeah, that was a tough game for LeBron. 11 points on 4 of 12 shooting. He had a tough night, so he'll be hoping for better days than that, which he did get later in the week. Also, obviously, Phoenix beating the Lakers. Miami Heat went 2 defeats in a row. We're losing to the Hornets. Also, look at Sacramento Kings, 130-109 over the Nuggets. Big game as well. Golden State Warriors beating the LA Clippers very convincingly, 121-104. Another game to look at in the rest of the week. Also, a big game was Memphis Grizzlies remained unbeaten at the time, beating the Phoenix Suns 102-91 away. And Cleveland Cavaliers losing 100-102 to the Utah Jazz. A buzzer beater from Gordon Hayward being the deciding factor there.
On Thursday, it was San Antonio 81, Houston 98.
Another defeat.
Yeah, another defeat there for San Antonio Spurs. And it was the Dallas Mavericks 87, the Portland Trailblazers 108.
Yeah, convincing win there for the Trailblazers. Very impressive again from them, kicking off where they picked off ended last year. 110-101, the Cavaliers won in Denver. So a convincing win to get them back on track for the Cavaliers. 114-112 to the Kings over the Suns in double overtime. Also had another double overtime between the Hawks and the Hornets. Hornets coming out on top with Al Jefferson, Big Al, getting 34 points on the night, which is very impressive. Also, Memphis Grizzlies remained unbeaten at the time with a 91-89 victory in Oklahoma City. That was then ended at the weekend by unlikely sources of the Milwaukee Bucks winning 93-92 over the Grizzlies, which was
very close.
A surprise. Yeah. As you can see, the Clippers as well beating the Portland Trailblazers 106-102. Big win for them. And the Spurs, another defeat at home this time to the New Orleans Pelicans. So that was a tough one by 1 point. As close as it gets. And the Warriors remained unbeaten at the time by beating fellow unbeaten side Houston Rockets away. There was no Dwight Howard in that game.
No.
98-87 that one.
On Sunday, it was Orlando Magic 96, Brooklyn Nets 104, Utah Jazz 97, Detroit Pistons 96. That was a close game.
Yeah.
Sacramento Kings 93, Oklahoma City Thunder 101. The Philadelphia 76ers suffered yet another defeat as they were beaten by 120 to 88 points. Miami Heat beat Dallas Mavericks by 105 to 96. Golden State Warriors 95, Phoenix Suns 107. Denver Nuggets 100, Portland Trailblazers 116. And finally, to wrap up the games on Sunday, it was Charlotte 92, Los Angeles Lakers 107.
Yeah, 2 significant games as well there. That was the first win for Los Angeles Lakers of the season. They go now 1-5, while the Golden State Warriors are losing their first game of the season last night to the Phoenix Suns. Obviously, no Klay Thompson in that game, resting after a sprained right hand. So we're moving on from there onto the next feature that we'll look at.
It was question time at this stage, but it's not going to be today, but we'll stick that in next week.
Nope.
Did you know? Yes, did you know? Right, we'll do that. Did you know?
Yeah.
Right, okay then. Did you know that in the 1890s, basketball was invented by Sir James Naismith?
I didn't know that at all, no.
So James Naismith was the inventor of basketball, and that was in 1890s. So tell your friends that one, or stick it in your Christmas card. It's good fun fact.
Yeah, any kind of pointless quiz you hear about, you might get that question.
Exactly. You can send the money our way if you win anything.
Yeah,
so that's the end of Did You Know? That will return next week. In at number 5, and today on our list of topics to talk about, is the cause for concern in San Antonio.
In Cleveland, yes. Well, at the moment, 2-3, and they've had a tough week this week. It was always going to be hard against the Houston Rockets, but then at home to the New Orleans Pelicans, it was a bit of a surprise. But I think the main concern for them is you look at this week that they've got. They're going to LA Clippers tonight.
The Warriors tomorrow. Lakers on Friday and the Kings on Saturday.
Yeah, so all away games, and 3 of them are really tough. You know, the Clippers and the Warriors away are really, really hard to win. Lakers away could be tougher. You know, Lakers can put up a bit of a fight, but ultimately you'd think that the Spurs will come through that. But then the Kings have obviously surprised people this year. We'll go on to them a little bit more in a bit. But I think at the moment there's more concern on Spurs' part because the Western Conference is so good. It's another point. The Western Conference this year is just brilliant. I think outside of, no disrespect to them, the Nuggets and the Lakers, I think any team could get in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
Any team. No one's guaranteed it, are they?
Having said that, you just mentioned the Kings. Are they for real this season? Or are they the finished article? Are they the real deal? It's
been coming for a few years with Rudy Gay on the court. DeMarcus Cousins really improved this year. He's matured as a player and a person as well. And we're really going to find out about them this year because we'll look at their schedule.
They've got the Mavericks tomorrow.
Yeah.
Which isn't an easy game at all.
Exactly, away.
The Grizzlies on Thursday again. A difficult match, and as we just mentioned, the Spurs have the Kings, which means the Kings have the Spurs.
Yeah, so it's going to be really tough. This is the week that we're really going to find out. And they lost last night as well. Obviously lost to a very depleted OKC side.
We're going to find out exactly what they're made of.
Yeah, we're going to see if they're a contender this week. They're 5-2 at the moment. They could be 5-5 by the end of the week. They could miraculously be 8-2. And with these victories on their record, it would be very impressive indeed. And like we say, are they for real?
Yeah, and we've got a couple more things to share with you. Blimey, we're doing well for time.
Yeah.
We are trying to condense the videos, but next week we're gonna do a bit of a fuller one, bit more time on next week's because of the fact that we've got those questions.
So much to talk about as well. Because, like I said, the Western Conference. We're looking at matchups. Like we picked key matchups this week, and I was pretty much every day you see at least 3 or 4 key matchups are important because there's just so many great games, and you're going to see that, especially in the West. You know, you can go from teams like the Houston Rockets to right up there, Golden State Warriors, and teams maybe further down like the Utah Jazz at the moment, San Antonio Spurs, and they're big games. Yeah,
so as I say, we'll make sure next week that the video is a bit longer because we've got a lot that we want to talk about. We quite haven't got the time today, but we'll make sure that it's condensed today and a fuller video next week, probably a good half an hour next week. But the key matchups for this week, we'll have a little bit of a look at that now.
Key matchups I've put down for this week, and here they are. So I'll skip past on that. So I've got a couple tonight. The Pelicans going into Cleveland. Anthony Davis against Kevin Love with a matchup that people will be watching.
Yeah.
LeBron James in there against Tyreek Evans. Pardon me. So it could be a really interesting matchup as well. Darren Collison against Kyrie Irving. It could be a big matchup. That big game again for the Cavaliers. They can't afford to keep slipping up. And they've got to try and get a win back on home soil as well. So it's important.
And we alluded to it just a minute ago. The Spurs are at the Clippers tomorrow.
A big
today, sorry. They're at
tonight. Yeah. So that could be a huge game for both teams. The Clippers haven't been all that convincing so far, and they got blown out by the Warriors last week. So we're going to see what they're about. But they have got good wins, especially over the Trailblazers at the weekend.
And tomorrow we've got the Kings at the Mavericks and the Spurs at the Warriors.
2 great games there, 2 super matchups on one night. Kings at the Mavericks. Never thought we'd be saying that a couple of years ago with the way the Kings were. And the way the Mavericks were, they've really improved both this year. And it could be a really top matchup, and so will the Spurs at the Warriors because the Warriors are on fire right now.
On Wednesday, the Pacers are at Miami Heat.
Yeah, again, last season that was the perfect matchup. That was the big one all season. Pacers are obviously lost a lot of players going into Miami. I'm sure they'll be motivated. The likes of Roy Hibbert, David West will be motivated certainly, but you'd think the way Miami are at the moment, they're just in that better position.
On Thursday, the Bulls are at the Raptors.
Yeah, that's a good game. That's an interesting one because the Raptors are the pace setters at the moment.
Absolutely,
in the East. Bulls were the ones that people were predicting would be the main threat to the Cavaliers, etc. The Raptors are proving a few people wrong. People were saying they're going to be top 4, but nothing more. I think they've got a good chance at the moment, and they've got a chance to stamp their authority.
Absolutely, I agree with that, yeah.
Chicago.
And moving on to Saturday, Spurs are at the Kings and the Suns are at the Clippers.
Again, another 2 classic matchups in the West. No surprise there.
It's all going on in the West, isn't it?
It is, and like we've looked at the Spurs Kings, that could have implications for both teams. Can the Spurs regain the form, or the Kings for real? Suns Clippers, exactly the same. Clippers need to really push up the form they've got. Suns, obviously, have been performing well again this season. Can they prove it against one of the big teams? They've already done it last week with a few good wins.
So with that in mind, we've told you our key matchups. What are our 3 for the week?
3 games for this week are starting with the Spurs at the Warriors on Tuesday night. Is that
difficult? But I'm going to go for the Spurs.
Yeah, again, really tough game. I think Klay Thompson should be back, so I'm going to go with the Golden State Warriors.
Okay, so with who do you agree with, me or Pete? Yeah. Stick that in the comments.
Comments box at the bottom. What your predictions are for these 3 games? Second one.
The Clippers at the Suns.
Again, this is a tough game. This is.
I'm going to go for the Suns.
I'm going to probably go for the Suns as well because they're on a good run of form. The Clippers haven't been all that convincing, but they have got good wins. But you've seen them in some games like the Warriors where they just look depleted. They didn't look the usual selves. I think if it's not clicking, it could go wrong.
And finally, no surprises for guessing where you're going with this one.
Where I'm going?
The Pacers are at Miami Heat.
Yeah, again, last season I'd have probably gone with a very close game. And again, this season, had Paul George been in the side, then it could be a different story, especially with LeBron leaving Miami. But the Miami Heat are in a much better position. Everything's clicking for them at the moment, and it should be a Heat win on Wednesday.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Yep. So
team of the week.
So team of the week now. That's what we've got to go through now. So I've got it all here.
Oh, sorry. Just before we do get to team of the week, one line to bring you, and that's the Grizzlies' Tony Allen was fined $15,000 for smacking a cameraman's camera in frustration.
Yeah.
If you do want to see the video, put it in YouTube, obviously, after you've watched this. So what did you make of that?
It was quite a nasty one because first of all, there's no need. You get frustrated, you hit something. It doesn't matter too much, but it did hit the camera in a way that the cameraman had the lens rolled up to his eye, so it smacked him in the eye. Could have caused damage to the camera.
Yeah, it could have caused severe damage to the chap's eye as well.
So luckily he was okay, and I think there's fines like this going out all the time. For anyone else, 15,000 is very harsh. Obviously, for a player earning the money that Tony Allen is earning, then it's not too much, but probably a little harsh, but generally it had to be punished in some way.
Yeah, and if you'd like to tell us what you think of Tony Allen's fine, stick that in the comments as well.
I think they'd rather have it taken out of their paycheck than out of their game time, to be honest.
Absolutely, I would imagine they'd put the fine.
Yeah, so it's better than missing a game.
Right, team of the week.
So team of the week, this is my team of the week, and got a little extra as well with head coach of the week and 6th man of the week. So first of all, in the point guard position, I've gone with Stephen Curry.
Okay.
Excellent for the Golden State Warriors. Just got a thing here, 30 points, 6 rebounds, 7.3 assists, 3.3 steals per game.
Very impressive stuff.
Which is excellent.
Had to be in your team, didn't it?
The only thing he's done wrong is 6.6 turnovers per game, including 10 turnovers yesterday, which is a high amount. You can't be doing that.
Yeah, you can't get away with that.
But obviously, in all fairness, he didn't have Klay Thompson next to him last night, so that was always going to be tough. But Steph Curry led to several wins. I mean, they were 3-1 this week. He's been absolutely excellent, star player, and certainly the point guard of the week. At shooting guard, Dwayne Wade. He hasn't gone below 50% shooting this week, which is fantastic for any player.
Absolutely.
Let alone somebody who now has to take on a burden and taking more shots than he did last year. without LeBron James at the Heat. Dwayne Wade has been fantastic and led the Miami Heat to 2 wins over the weekend.
Can't argue with that.
At small forward, another Miami Heat player, Luol Deng, who has really gelled in quickly as expected. He's one of those players, wherever he goes, he can perform. He's done that with the Miami Heat and scored 30 points last night against the Dallas Mavericks, which really led the Heat to victory. He's been fantastic. At power forward, I've gone with Tobias Harris of the Orlando Magic. Now, he's led the Orlando Magic to 2 wins this week, which is excellent for considering the Magic's injury problems and the lack of depth in their team.
The lack of depth?
The depth, yeah. Hopefully no depth there. But look at this, 18.8 rebounds and 17.16 rebounds in their 2 wins he's got. So
impressive.
2 fantastic performances. He actually plays small forward but can play in the 4 as well. So I'll put him in the power forward position.
And what's next?
And finally the centre, which has to be DeMarcus Cousins. Absolutely fantastic, really leading that Sacramento Kings team. And look at this again, 22.5 points, 10.3 rebounds per game. And in 2 of the games, got 30 points, 11 rebounds, and 25 points, 18 rebounds, which is fantastic form.
If you agree with Pete's team of the week, tell him. I'm sure he'll be very happy.
I'll be very happy.
And if you disagree, stick that in the comments or on Twitter, and we'll read your team of the week.
Yeah.
Coach of the week, who are we giving that to?
Well, coach of the week for me has gone to Steve Kerr. His first coaching job at the Golden State Warriors. Not easy at all. He's elevating them from a about 4th or 5th place team now into a championship team. And you look at the road win in Houston and a blowout of the Clippers. And finally, one last thing I've added in, and that's the 6th man of the team of the week. That doesn't go to a player who exclusively plays on the bench. It's any player. It just gives me the right to pick whatever position I want. And that's gone to one person who was in the team of the week last week, not last year.
Don't think we had a show last year.
Don't think we did, no. James Harden, that's gone to. He's been excellent. Points galore
it's hard to leave him out of this week.
Exactly.
Well, I'm afraid that is all we've got time for. And thank you very much for joining us on the 4th episode of UK NBA.
Yeah, please leave your comments in the box. All the details at the bottom of our Facebook page and Twitter addresses. And you can get in touch with us anytime this week. Anything you want us to talk about in the show, please do. And give it a like, thumbs up, because it's a good show.
Subscribe.
So, yeah, thank you very much, and we'll see you next week.
See ya. Take care. Bye.